Growing up with Kyle as my older brother has been a pretty fun and adventurous ride. From teaching me how to throw a baseball to even helping me pick up on the ladies. You could say Kyle was a pretty amazing brother. But on a more serious note, Kyle has also taught me some of life's most valuable lessons, like how to talk my way out of getting in trouble with teachers and parents. Let's just say Kyle has a way with his words. Whenever I'm getting ready for a big game, my brother's words of wisdom come to mind. Separate yourself from the crowd, Jake. Lead, don't follow. I believe in you. My brother has shown me this not only through his words, but with his actions as well. It's been a pleasure sharing my brother with you this past year. I hope he has made even the slightest impact on your lives.
Although Kyle is not basically part of my family, he is the brother I've always wanted. Ever since we were freshmen in high school, Kyle and I did everything together. From being on the livestock judging team together to even buying an $800 goat together. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, $800 for a goat, that's insane. But if you guys were to ask us at the time, that was money well spent. But it wasn't until my junior year where I knew Kyle was destined to do great things. Like talking his way out of 4 speeding tickets. 4 speeding tickets. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know anyone that talked out of 1. Kyle Rohrmann talked out of 4. That was then when I finally realized that Kyle was destined to become a state officer, because when Kyle puts his mind to something, he achieves it.
Kyle has always been there for me. He's been my shoulder to cry on, my ear to vent to, but most importantly, my best friend to share laughter with. You can imagine how interesting it's been being the only girl in this group of guys. They even came up with this thing called a gripometer. This was a way of measuring how many times I was allowed to complain on a daily basis. But we've also had some pretty amazing times together. And in a short amount of time, Kyle went from my friend to part of my family, and I haven't looked back since. He has inspired me to step out of my comfort zone numerous times and has been an inspiration to me on a daily basis.
Now, without further ado, please help us in welcoming to the stage our best friend,
our brother, and your state sentinel,
Kyle Rohrmann, to present his retiring address entitled
Between the Lines!
Here comes Joy! Here is Junior at third base! They're going to wave him in! The throw to the plate will be late! The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship! I don't believe it! It just continues!
Lace and woven, barely holding that stitch. Creases of time amongst the grime and the grit. Where the leather used to pound his fist. To some it's just a myth, but see that glow is him. Yeah, tell me stories on the field with that sun-stained rim. Blood under my chin, he taught me how to spit. Sunflower seeds back with me and my crew. Sunburnt arms, big league chew. Yeah, we were like the Sandlot after dinner. After practice we listened to the M's in the kitchen. And if mom wasn't tripping, come on dad, please, I swear this one more inning. Voice would pump through the system. Break out the rye bread. It's grand salami time, my oh my, another victory, yes. My city, childhood, my life, watching Griffey right under those lights.
Growing up, baseball was my life. From the time I could walk to my junior year in high school, baseball was it. Where most kids' Saturday mornings consisted of Fruit Loops and cartoons, mine usually consisted of hazy mornings, fresh cut grass, and warming up my arm as the sun began to warm up the day. There was a certain feeling, an aura, an atmosphere about the field that completely consumed me. I'm not sure if it was the family that was created by the name right across our chests, or the rush of staring the other team down right across the field before the game began, but the sport captivated me. From coaches to teammates, practices and games, baseball was more than a sport. It was a lifestyle. From the basics of t-ball to the ins and outs of the game in high school, I learned to play a sport that taught me the fundamentals of life. 2, are some that each and every one of us can use. Baseball taught me how to make it happen and stay in there. Because you see, hard work is necessary, but it doesn't guarantee that we won't fail. I've always been competitive, and with a natural desire to win, it didn't take long for me to learn that in order to be the best, you have to work the hardest. I remember my dad telling me that he had a surprise for me. He told me to grab my gear and get in the car. Now, being an 8th grade kid who loved baseball more than anything, it didn't matter who, what, or where I was. Those words were magic to my ears. So I quickly grabbed my gear, threw it in the car, and we headed across town. I started to get a little confused when we ended up in Clovis. And then we pulled into a parking lot, and I read a sign that said, All Pro Hockey and Sport. Now I was really confused. Hockey? I gave my dad the confused look, and he chuckled and said, let's go inside. So we went in. As soon as I stepped through the door, I was taken back. I stared around at walls covered in old pictures of baseball players, plaques, and trophies. The shelves were freshly stocked with brand new baseball equipment. It smelled like fresh leather, and I could hear the sound of a pitching machine winding in the back. It was a feeling I'll never forget. I snapped out of my gaze when my dad tapped me on the shoulder and introduced me to a man who would change the way that I looked at baseball and eventually life as I knew it. Richie was no less than 375 pounds of pure knowledge, kindness, and experience. Now, when my dad told me he was going to be my trainer, I was skeptical to say the least, but excited at the same time. The weeks passed, and every day that I wasn't at practice, I was in Clovis working with Richie. Every day was the same. I would walk in, stretch out, and Richie would ask me without fail, Kyle, what do you want to be better at today? Now, being an 8-year-old kid, I'd come back with something different every time. I want to throw harder. I want to run faster. I want to hit better. I want to be a better catcher. But it didn't matter what I said. Richie came back with the same 3 words every time. Make it happen. It didn't take long for that to turn from a simple response to a way of life. That meant spending hours and hours and hours in the cage, tweaking every single swing in order to make sure that I could hit as many baseballs as possible. Or squatting for hours, catching thousands upon thousands of baseballs in order to make sure that I was the best catcher that I could possibly be. And leaving All Pro Hockey and Sport, tired, sweaty, exhausted, ready to quit, but better. Better because Richie pushed me to make it happen. However, I now realize that Richie wasn't just talking about making it happen in the batting cage or on the baseball field. He was talking about my life. He was teaching me something in that cage that each and every one of us can use every single day. Every time we set a goal, every time we compete, every time we want to see change, it's up to us, nobody else, to make it happen. For some of us, maybe that means actually opening our Robert's Rule of Order book outside of practice, so come competition next year, we are the best debater possible. For others, maybe it means taking a look at our own lives, finding what makes us unhappy, and getting rid of it. Getting out of unhealthy friendships and relationships and focusing on what makes us better. Maybe it means we have a younger sibling at home who needs our support. So we turn off our cell phone, we turn off our TV, we turn off our computer, and we say, hey, let's spend some quality time together so we can make it happen as a family member. Too often we set goals, create resolutions, or say we want to be something, and that's where it ends. Words without action are empty. We all want success, but success is created. It's not found. It's earned, not given. And it's up to us every single day to make it happen. Now, I'm not saying that making it happen is going to be easy. It takes a conscious effort and the willingness to accept the fact that we will get knocked down. I learned this all too well when I had to miss my 7th grade baseball season because of shoulder surgery. I came into 8th grade in that awkward recovery mode where the doctor said I was okay to play, but I had been out for so long that I was out of shape, and there was no chance that I was just going to walk back on the field and play at the level I had before. As a matter of fact, I had to miss my 8th grade tryouts because I had physical therapy. Now, I remember the day when I went to go talk to Coach Wilson, the 8th grade coach at the time, and he told me that I could come to a couple practices after my physical therapy and earn my way on the team. Never was I more thankful for the words of Richie, because little did I know that the next 4 months of my life would be consumed with a lesson that every single one of us can value. So I showed up to practice, and sure enough, it was miserable. I had to do twice what the team had to do if I wanted my spot on the team. That meant they ran 10 wind sprints, I ran 20. They did 25 push-ups, they did 50, and by the end of the first time out on the field, I wanted nothing more than to quit, give up, and just try again next year. I can vividly remember, after the first practice, sitting on the bench, couldn't feel my legs, tears rolling down my face, on the verge of giving up. Until I remembered those times at All Pro Hockey and Sport, until I remembered the words of Richie. Instantly, my mindset changed, and I showed up at the next practice ready to work harder than I had ever before. Again, I ran until I couldn't feel my legs, threw so many baseballs, my arm felt like it was going to fall off, and swung the bat so many times, I was dizzy. But at the end of practice, it was all rewarded when Coach Wilson walked up to me, threw me a jersey, and said, "Welcome to the team." Never was I more excited. I showed up at the next practice ready to work, and sure enough, we got right down to it. We started that practice with a drill that would define not just that practice, but our team, season, and any hard time that I would face beyond that. The way this drill worked was you stepped into the batter's box. You got 5 pitches from Coach Wilson. Once those pitches were up, you had to earn every pitch beyond that. The way you earn the pitch is by hitting a base hit. But the fun part about this drill was every time you hit a base hit, Coach Wilson would yell at the top of his lungs in an over-exaggerated, middle-aged voice, "Stay in there!" As you can imagine, this quickly became the joke of our team. We laughed for days. But it didn't take long for that to turn from something that we laughed at to something that we lived by. Stay in there would go on to define 14 8th graders all playing for one simple cause: to win. We did this drill every day, and by the end of the season, with the guidance of Coach Wilson, a lot of hard work, and the stay in there drill and attitude, we went on to be the first school from our district to win the Valley Championship. Now, it was an exciting time, but it quickly ended. 2 weeks later, we showed up to school, and a meeting for the boys' baseball team was called. We showed up surprised and curious, and at that meeting, stay in there would turn from a simple little drill to a life lesson. We walked in, Coach Wilson was standing in front of us. He was a short little man, so he was up on stairs. And he stood in front of us and told us that we were champions, that we had worked hard and we deserved to be there. And of course, ended the speech with our team motto, "Stay in there." Then our principal walked in, holding a box. He then handed each one of us a championship ring. Take a look. See, now as flashy and as shiny as these are on the outside, it's not what's on the outside that matters. It was the 3 words engraved right below our name that truly meant something. Stay in there. It took me a while, but I now realize that every time Coach Wilson yelled, "Stay in there," at the top of his lungs, he wasn't talking about the batter's box. He was talking about our lives. Life gets rough. We get knocked down, we fail, and sometimes it feels like we'll never win. No matter the pain, no matter the hate, no matter the challenges that we're facing, just stay in there. Maybe that means we are struggling in a class. Maybe it means that we need to spend time outside of that class. Find a tutor, work hard, so at the end of the year, we know that we stayed in there and we passed. Maybe it means that yesterday or every judging contest this year, we've lost by 40 points or more. But we're going to study hard, work hard, stay in there, so that next year we can be the best teammate possible and be as successful as we can. Maybe the motivation to stay in there comes from having a younger sibling at home who's looking to us for our guidance, for our choices to make theirs. Whatever it is, whatever the hate, the struggle, remember this: the glory in our highest times feels the way it does because of the pain in our lowest. To my family, thank you. Thank you for loving me unconditionally, regardless of what happened. To my friends, Thank you for being right by my side, even when I couldn't do the same for you. To my team, thank you. This year has meant more to me than I could ever express. Each and every one of you hold a special place in my heart, and though our paths will be separated, I know that we will be lifelong friends and family. I wouldn't be the person I am today without this year with you guys. To California FFA, thank you. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter if our interaction was 5 minutes or 5 months. It has made an impact on me that I can only hope I've made on you. You guys have given me the opportunity, the experience of a lifetime, and none of this would have been possible without you. It has been an honor to wear association across my back and serve you. Thank you so much. At the end of the day, we all have goals, we all have dreams, we all have aspirations. Those aren't what define us. It's the effort we put in, the time we take, and the willingness to sacrifice that truly shapes who we are once those goals are reached. The path to success is rough, but if we just stay in there, we focus on making it happen every single day, we will get there. We all have something that provides motivation in our life. We all have something that we can model growth after. Find yours and use it. Mine just happened to be between the lines of a baseball field. Thank you.
I do my best to find some kind of glow. I'm giving it some heart and soul now. From the darkest grays, the sunburst, clouds break. Yeah, we see that fire from the streets of Babylon to the road that we've been on now. The kaleidoscope claims another. Seen my worst, and yet you see some hope in me. The black and white set us free, like the queen to the rook. Your decision was a sure thing, honey, yeah, a sure thing. No wonder I feel like I'm missing a heavy load. But no matter what daylight brings to us, we all know. This is life in color. Today feels like no other. From the darkest grays, the sunburst clouds break. Whoa. down the road a little sideways. Cracked a brick when you hit the wall. Yeah, so you didn't do your best. It pulled you down faster than a sunset. Hey, it happens to us all. When the cold hard rain just won't quit and can't see your way out of it, you find your faith has been lost and shaken. Here's your chance and it's worth taking. Get on your knees and dig down deep. You can do what you think is impossible. Keep on believing, don't give in. You got the strength to raise the wind. Remember what one dream can do. You are unstoppable. You can weather any storm. Don't you know that you were born to win? Oh, you'll find a helping hand when you need it most. The lighthouse shining on the coast that never goes down. When your back's against the wall.
Carl, Peter, Cairo, Chad, Kyle with style, Kyle. Parfaits. Everybody loves parfaits, especially Kai. Between your gourmet meals and hatred for feet, we have learned a lot from you this year. Saving money on plunder, how to have an effective workout, but most importantly, the value behind taking chances and always trying something at least once. Your need for speed kept us from taking detours, well, at least most of the time, and connecting our team right from the start. From the moment you blurted out, "Oh, I need to write my RA," back in August, we knew you were dedicated to everything you did. It's really impressive how you were able to beat the system and serve as a state officer this year while also serving as a national officer back in the 70s. You've made quite an impact on California FFA. In fact, you have left at least one of your belongings each and every place we have gone this year. But in all seriousness, you have always put the members first, taking time to get to know them, stay connected with them, and relate to them on a deeper level. Thank you for pushing us to go the extra mile and making sure everything we did was focused on the members. Hashtag love you always. Hannah, Kelsey, Leah, Jason, and Tyler. California FFA, your 2012-2013 State FFA Sentinel, Mr. Kyle Rohrmann. Get on your knees.